Authorities in Australia have declared a natural disaster after torrential rains caused some of the worst flooding in decades. People were evacuated from near Sydney as more than 30 centimetres of rain fell on the area in just over a day. Emergency services are warning of a life-threatening situation.
A house floats down the Manning River in New South Wales. Much of the state has been affected by dangerous flash flooding. It's causing widespread damage and is threatening lives. Emergency services have appealed to people not to drive through the floodwaters.
It's not worth the risk. You're creating significant risk to yourselves, to your families, and also to the rescuers who would need to come and save you.
Record rains have hit most of the state. Some areas have reported the worst flooding in half a century, and the downpours are showing no signs of abating.
Oh, we're just inundated at the moment, and the water's still rising. It's come up about a foot in the last hour. Yeah, this is the worst I've seen it. Last year, just after Christmas, it was pretty bad as well, but not this bad.
There's going to be a lot of people that maybe don't get their houses flooded, but they won't get to work. The roads will be wrecked as well. So it's going to test and give, I think, a lot of people a bit of a wake-up call that they think, no, nature, this and that, but oh, we built the dam bigger, we built lakes, but once they're full, they're full.
The government is offering financial assistance to people affected by the floods. Meteorologists are warning that this extreme weather is set to continue for several days.
And for more on this, let's bring in journalist William Broome in Sydney. William, we were just looking at some really dramatic pictures. The Premier of New South Wales is calling this a once-in-a-century event. What does she mean by that?
She means, and I know it's a bit of a cliche, but it is unprecedented. I know much of New South Wales hasn't seen extreme weather like this for 100 years, and much of Western Sydney, 50 years. We do get heavy rain. I lived in London for many years, and when it rains there, we get a lot of drizzle. But here in Sydney, when it rains, it absolutely pours. And I've often said that even central Sydney, the roads, the streets are not built for heavy rain. I had to make a few detours on Friday, for instance, because the road, the drains, the gutters were absolutely flooded.
And how would you say, given your experience, well prepared were authorities and indeed the population for all this?
Well, I know the state emergency services and other emergency services say that since Thursday they've received about 7,000 emergency calls. I know also other states have also offered and given emergency resources as well. I would say they are as prepared as they could be. Regarding the people, today there were a lot of St. Patrick's Day weekend celebrations. I went out to celebrate at Sydney Harbour, and there was certainly a lot of people out despite the weather, but probably less than usual. But the thing we are experiencing is we will get these heavy downpours, and then we'll just get a little bit of rain, so we're still able to go out. But I know parts of Western Sydney, I'm in central Sydney, have had it a lot worse, and it's predicted that perhaps tomorrow and in coming days up to 4,000 people could be evacuated.
And just big picture-wise, Australia hasn't been having a lot of luck weather-wise. It seems last year we saw these huge bushfires, now we've got this heavy rainfall. Are people talking of a pattern of extreme weather developing?
They certainly are. I mean, a lot of people previously, their fears about Australia were snakes and spiders. These days, it's the weather. And often states such as Queensland, they get extremely hot weather. They get bushfires. New South Wales has a history of bushfires, but lately we've had it pretty difficult. I mean, late 2019, early 2020, we had bushfires followed by heavy flooding, although not on this scale. And then, of course, COVID, and now restrictions have been easing, and we're going into more flooding. We've also just come from summer, and we're going into autumn. So we're still accustoming ourselves to this new, cooler, colder weather. Only a couple of weeks ago, we were out in the sun in T-shirt, shorts, enjoying ourselves. And now, of course, we're wearing umbrellas and our waterproofs.
Oh, OK. Thank you so much for that insight. Journalist William Broome in Sydney, Australia.